Warning, do not listen to this podcast if hearing about freedom and liberty is not legal for you in your community. And if so, you should immediately move to a hipper community.
Welcome to the Freedom Feems podcast, a weekly web lab where Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi cover the punk rockinist, hip-hopinist current events, as well as timeless universal truths about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, because there's no such thing as half-free. The Freedom Feems podcast, available from freedomfeens.com. That's freedomfeens.com.
Freedom Feens is proudly syndicated by Alterati.com, the Liberty Radio Network, and No Agenda Global Radio.
Welcome to the Freedom Feens Distance Learning Anarchy series with Freedom Feens Michael W. Dean,
Broadcasting from my windowless bunker,
and Nima Vadadi.
Go Freedom Feens!
Okay, so we're rolling. Yeah, it's weird. It's the setup we have. Like, I'm way louder than me. I'm way louder than you in the headphones, but it's printing to tape, as they say, at the right volume. But
there's no like Q volume or something like that. I'm so used to using DJ mixers.
There's a control room. There's a control room out, but using it, that's just more layers of crap. I don't know. It's okay because in my head, in my life, I'm louder than everyone else anyway in the world, so I can still hear you. It's good.
Okay, I can see that.
So anyway, I co-wrote a song called Drone before Nima was born.
People even envisioned drones. I guess people envisioned drones. I mean, wasn't that always a science fiction meme that there'd be flying robots keeping an eye on you?
Terminator 2, Terminator. I mean, that's from a book written when?
Yeah.
Let's look it up.
Although in Terminator I don't feel like there was really the intermediary of there being surveillance drones only. I feel like they were just flying robots dealing death with lasers from the sky.
Well, actually,
Terminator.
The Vietnam War, they used unmanned aircraft to take pictures of the enemy.
Ah, yeah, that's right.
I mean, they weren't anything like they are now. They were like, a regular small plane rigged up, probably with a film camera in it that they had to develop when it landed, film movie camera. And I'm pretty sure that's what they had.
I think that Dr. McCoy that Scott Horton was interviewing was saying something about drones getting their start in Vietnam and how quickly the technology progressed too. Like when they first started the Vietnam War, they were so rudimentary, and then by the end of it, they were so much farther along than that. I guess the market is the best at doing technology, that's peaceful, but the government's really good at figuring out ways to kill you more. And speaking of big songs and FEMA, which we've talked about, which is related to Hurricane Sandy, that reminded me of, there's been this discussion of price gouging. There's this Biggie line that sort of talks about price gouging from back in the day when he's talking about going elsewhere to sell drugs. He says, she was forced to kick me out, no doubt. Then I figured out that Knicks went for 20s down south. Packed up my tools for my raw power move. Glock 19 for casket and flower moves. So that's Biggie. And Jay-Z talks about that too, going down south to sell your drugs because you could get a better price for them.
I like his packing up thing. It reminds me of the Death Clock where William Murderface, the unappreciated bass player, quits the band and like runs away from home at age 40 or whatever. And he's like, I don't need you. You guys don't appreciate me. You don't do my songs. And he's packing like an old school gym bag, like one that looks like a bowling bag, And all he puts in it is like a pair of socks, a bottle of liquor, and a gun. And then he leaves. It's like really all you need, man.
Yeah. I love that terminology for guns, tools, because that's so big in hip hop and it's so true. It's cool.
I came across a cop, slang for guns site. It was something I kind of wanted to read with you if you can find it. Slang. It's on officer.com.
Is that forums. As bad as Police One, or is it less gay?
I only looked at this page, but let's read through some of these. I'll send it to you on the pigeons.
On the pigeon.
We'll alternate. Some of these I've heard, some of these I have not. Let's see. GAT.
Of course.
Burner. Burner is also a cell phone that you buy and throw away, but
Yeah, but Burner, there's a great hip hop line for that now too. In the song that's kind of commercial and lame, but it's cool anyway. Teach me how to Dougie. He says, "I hate skinny jeans because the burner keep rubbing." Saying, "Hey, don't wear those gay skinny jeans because you can't keep a gat in them properly."
Yeah, and that's another reason that gangsters wear baggy clothes. I mean, originally I think it was to imitate prison clothes. That's the
The thing is, I think it's gotten out of hand for some people. Like now, you see people sagging. I sound so old when I say this.
Yes, youngsters in their saggy pants. There ought to be a law.
Well, you see it now to where it completely has perverted it into something that's just style and not utilitarian. Like I'll see people at the store and they've got to where the waist of their pants, where the belt is or would be, is literally below just where their ass turns into their leg. You know, that curve.
That is not useful, man. You can't run in those. Your gun is going to pull it down to the ground. That's just fashion BS.
Here's the other thing. They wear shirts to where the shirts stop right at their waistline. So from their waist to where their legs start, their whole ass area, all you see is their Hanes.
So speaking of sounding old, let me interject here real quickly. That song Drone, written in 1983. What year were you born?
84.
Yeah. In that, the song is about smells and how smells like bring your memory back. Peggy says, and it takes me back to 1963 and I wake up and there's just me. So yeah, not only is that before you were born, it talks about 21 years before that.
Yeah.
And it still
talks about like when my mom was born.
That song still sounds modern to me, but I'm old.
Yeah. Doesn't sound modern to me, but it sounds relevant to me. Like I could see somebody sampling it or using it or being like, "Hey, this is that cool analog sound we want to get into."
Updating it and making good. Oh, Chopper. That's an AK-47.
Yeah, Chopper. People say that a lot in New Orleans rap back in the day. There was even a rapper called Chopper Style.
I've heard most of these. 9, Gat, Heater, Pocket Rocket. That's pretty good for a little car, little gun. I mean, Roscoe. A Roscoe, I think, is a specific. I think a Roscoe is a throwdown gun. I think it's a gun that cops carry so they can shoot somebody, and it's like they've never touched it. Their prints aren't on it. They stole it off some other gangbanger. So
that was an East Coast thing too. Biggie said Roscoe sometimes.
Well, I could see non-cops carrying a throwdown too if they wanted to set someone up.
Yeah. Oh, there's also Nina.
Nina.
There's a current song called "Riding Around with My Nina."
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, because if I got my Nina, then I'm straight tripping, which is Dr. Dre, I think. Heat's good. Yeah,
I got into an argument. These aren't very good. We'll research this better and come back to this. I can't believe not one person entered our Do the Stankfoot Dance contest, which is over, and I'm not going to extend it. So I have one copy of the gun training for the DVD for sale. Today's November 11th or 13th. It ended November 11th. So if this is November 13th or 14th, you hear this, you can email us at talkback@freedomfiends.com and see if I still have it for sale. So there.
Okay.
But, Veterans Day, VD, really depresses me. I mean, I was depressed isn't the word. I never really get depressed because that means hopeless, but I've been worried about the state of the state. And I got into this argument with this guy that was, one of my friends on Facebook, someone who added me a long time ago, who he posted this thing. It was like some woman holding a rifle and the caption was like, Sharia law, get off my property. And, the guy says under his political views, he's borderline anarchist, which I like as a name for a minarchist. It's pretty good. But he wasn't really minarchist. His thing was like, politics disappoints me so often. I've given up on it. But he still kind of believed in it, I think. But I said, before you buy this BS line, you should listen to this interview. And I posted the Will Coley interview and,
oh, nice.
But he just went full on, like all Muslims are evil. They're trained to lie. It's part of their religion, blah, blah, blah. He started calling me names. I deleted him, blocked him.
Who's trained to lie for 12 years?
Cops.
Statists.
For 12 years.
People who go to public school.
Yeah.
You're trained to lie.
Yeah. But, he did have one good point in that whole rant before he started calling me a horrible person. He said, so you're going to find one convert as the happy face of peaceful Islam. And I'm like, there's something to that, I mean, a convert, nothing about Will, but a convert to anything can probably more pick and choose what they want to accept of something. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. But also, what we were trying to do is.
And don't you think a convert to anything would be not brought into the fold entirely immediately? I mean, he's been in for a while, but it's like, think about a biker gang, a guy who's
we interviewed him wasn't just because he was some convert who was sweet on it. It's because he was a student of it.
I know
he became a convert because he was so interested in the theology of it, and so he was a very good person to explain the theology of it. And I think where the guy has his point, or the point he could have better made, is, just like I talk about in school, they teach you big J journalism, which is all the high ideas, but that's much different, obviously, than what you see on Fox News or what you see at any local TV news affiliate. People don't actually follow those rules where the rubber meets the road. And maybe the guy has a point with that the average Muslim, probably just like the average Christian, doesn't necessarily know what the theology actually teaches.
But Will does.
They just know what their family tells them.
Will probably knows better than the average person because he studies the theology and the law of it.
Exactly. So he may have a point in that. But that's what the interview was trying to do. It was trying to show what is actually in the theology of Islam and where it has where it shares values with anarchism or stateless society. And I think the point that you make to people like this who you're arguing with is, it's the state's corruption. It's the state's use of Islam as a tool to force people into state actions. Just like the state in America uses Christianity to do that.
I was going to get into that with him, but now when someone starts insulting me, I block them. It's like, someone can disagree with me all day long. Like I say this often. I have a couple friends that are friends in real life that are socialists and understand it. And that's what they are. They're not Obama socialists. They are like, one of them's lived in Denmark and he's like, that's the best system in the world. I am a socialist. The other one is like a student of socialism. They're my friends in real life and I still keep them on Facebook because they're polite. Their arguments are always full of logic holes, but even so, they're never mean. But when people are mean, even if they agree with me 100%, I block them. I don't have time for that. And then they say you're blocking my free speech. No, you're being a dick and I don't have to listen to dicks.
Exactly. Free speech, people always misuse that. Free speech doesn't mean you can force other people to listen to what you have to say.
Right. It means you can't. Free speech is not being stopped from saying it. And it's like, if I block you on my Facebook or my YouTube, I'm not blocking your free speech because you can go on your Facebook or YouTube or other people's or start your own blog.
Anything you want, but nobody is obligated to listen. The corollary of free speech is freedom of hearing, is freedom of ingestion in your ears. You can choose to block out anything you don't want to listen to. Which
is something that I've written a book on called User's Manual for the Human Experience that I highly recommend. And it's free so if you want
go cop that. Or go look at it for free. Yeah, you don't have to buy it. But you can. Yeah, you certainly can. I think I say that a lot, and maybe I shouldn't. I just thought of this. Why would I use the term cop for something peaceful like commerce?
Yeah, especially it's not only used for obtaining something; it's used for copping to a plea.
Yeah,
it's compromising yourself to the cops.
I'm so used to saying that. All right,
I know.
Crisscross. No more saying cop for buy.
I was arguing with somebody about being an anarchist, like some guy another guy who's still a friend of mine who's respectful, who is sick of politics, and it doesn't work. It can't help us. It can't save the union. And I'm like, well, maybe you should be like us and become an anarchist. You probably will within 18 months. Here, listen to the Freedom Fiends. And he's like, I was an anarchist in the 70s and went to jail for it. And I said, well, I don't mean that kind of anarchist. And I don't understand what he meant, but I was assuming something else. Yeah. And a couple of people chimed in and said, well, people who are our kind of anarchists go to jail for it. Larkin Rose, Ademo Freeman, Ian Freeman, Derek J. Freeman. And I said, maybe the thing that gets you jailed these days isn't being an anarchist. It's changing your last name to Freeman. The state doesn't like it.
Yeah. Which, were we saying Milton Freeman instead of Milton Friedman in the last cast?
Probably.
Yeah, Ben called us out on that. Sorry, Ben. Well, I know it's Friedman. I just, for some reason, I'm so used to saying Freeman.
And I'm not dissing Ademo, Ian, or Derek J. Freeman. I'm kind of making light of I wouldn't say horrible world we live in, but the world we live in.
Yeah. The state of our society, which needs to be stateless.
I have some really quick news you can use.
Okay.
website called gethuman.com. Kind of sounds like Computer Kill Flanders. Gethuman.com is where you go to find out at any major company and a lot of minor companies how to actually get a human on the phone or email.
Yeah. Well,
Gethuman.com.
I know a lot of companies, at least a company I used to work for, the concept
Amazon.
was don't have the number directly there because you have a million different departments, and it's going to be a lot more work for the customer if they call and get, billing when they want tech support for specific device A. And so they have you go through this sort of internet thing where you click, and it takes you to the right place. But if you already know where you're going, so does this Get Human, does it give you specific departments
Yes.
within?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So that would be the quickest way to do it then, is bypass their call catcher and do it that way.
I used to work at Macy's in San Francisco. I had a long-term temp job working in the office. And I think I've said about how Macy's is totally luxurious down in the store, but it was like the crappiest office I've ever worked in. It was like concrete and with like exposed tubes in the ceiling, and it was really cold, and the computers are really old and slow. And what they had me doing was dealing with customer complaints. And these were like customer complaints that were like people in the local area who had purchased something for more than $1,000 and were unhappy with it. So it was kind of like real and serious. And my boss there actually told me with certain people to put them on hold forever and never talk to them.
Oh man, that's not cool at all.
Which isn't, cool. It's probably not a policy at Macy's. This lady's probably been fired by now.
Well, it's interesting because they're usually ranked really high in customer service surveys.
Yeah,
they're
they probably
considered one of the best companies for giving customer
surveys. This was
surveys.
like 1996. She's probably going.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So we were talking about Veterans Day. There's a couple points I think we should make on that. First, a wondrous phenomenon happened spontaneously, and was
a lot of people wrote on Facebook and thanked you and I for our service yesterday.
Yes, which we did not ask them to do. We never said that on a cast. I don't know if some other Liberty person maybe said that.
Somebody did it. Somebody did it once to us when it wasn't Veterans Day.
Oh, okay.
I mentioned it on a
maybe
cast.
It was Memorial Day or something.
Yeah, and then it started happening yesterday.
Got it.
And I thank Ben Quaker for his service.
Yeah. Well, I think that's wonderful. Maybe those kind of things, that's how you defeat the state, is those little bits of horizontal enforcement too. Kind of like how you were saying you love to listen to Liberty media that's not talking explicitly about anarchist ideas or liberty itself, but just that accept liberty as a basic premise and then move on. Because that's what we all need to do to get rid of the state, is accept liberty as a basic premise and then move
I have
on.
one of those. I have a new conspiracy theory. You know how gun sales go up a lot before and after an Obama election?
Yeah.
And did with Clinton. What if Obama owned stock in gun companies?
That's a really good question.
George Soros does.
Does he? Is there a way to find that out? I guess you can't do a FOIA if it's his own private account.
I don't know, man.
Right?
It was hard for someone to even find out about his real estate sales in Chicago. I think he would have that insulated by so many shell corporations and,
But that's an interesting thought. Yeah.
Did you see this pamphlet that the Federal Reserve Bank of New York puts out about how they safeguard and guard your gold that they have?
I didn't look through it, but I saw the title of it, which was humorous to say the least.
It's really bizarre, and it's got lots of pictures. I'll link it. I'll put it on our site. I don't want to link them, but the real question is no, whose gold is that? Does it really exist? And why do you say it's yours? I say it's just Obama's bug out bag, the 187 tons of gold they have there.
Obama's or Bernanke's.
Yeah,
one of the two.
Bernanke's bug out bag. Yep.
Yeah, and there you go. You got the alliteration with Bernanke. But, I think the Fed has been doing a lot to sort of do more horizontal enforcement with this. They're trying to get the word out that, hey, guys, we're not the bad guy. I
think it's most of that gold's gone, and it's in the bunker of Cheney's ranch in Wyoming.
Maybe. But the Fed's been doing things like that lately. Like, there's these commercials playing on radio now. Oh, hold on just a second. All right. There's these commercials I've been hearing. There's this company that's doing like they call it financial literacy. I think they're called like the Hope Foundation or something like that.
Understanding what we want you to believe is true about economics.
It's a bunch of bankers, and one of the PSAs wasn't that bad. It was all about this kid who decides to buy Nike stock, and his friends are like, "Don't buy Nike stock. You're an idiot. Buy Air Jordans." And he's like, "No, you're the idiot because when you buy those, I'll make money." And it's kind of like, okay, that's cute. But then the next one was and the guy kind of has a weird accent. I don't know where he's from, but he was like, now we're moving from the civil rights era to the civil rights era. And I don't know if he was saying silver rights, like metals, but he says like, because I don't know what else would that would sound like. Silva, like, is there some guy named Silva? Like literally you can't understand what he's saying. But then he goes on, he says, come meet us at this great conference where chairman of the Fed, Ben Bernanke, will be there to explain things to you. And I'm like, oh, you guys just lost me there. Like, if you have Ben Bernanke,
it's Michael Silva. Michael Silva of the Federal Reserve. He runs the Federal Reserve Bank in New York. These people that have our gold, allegedly.
That's it. So, it would have been a lot nicer if it were silver rights. Okay, he means silver. Wow, that's
really
pretty
corrupt, man.
That's pretty dick writing too, to call something some guy's name, right?
And to take something that was about freedom, at least in a statist, framework, and make it about the name of some guy who's robbing everyone blind and turning him into soft slavery. Yeah.
Again, I'm not 100% sure that that's what he's saying because he talks funny, but
it's got to be. I searched Silva Federal Reserve and it went to this guy's bio on the New York Fed.org website, which is where I got this gold pamphlet.
Yeah. So, the freaking Fed. Yeah. So, a financial literacy organization that's trying to show people how, money works. Instead of showing them that, hey, this is how money works and it's not good. We want money to work properly and have it be sound and freedom oriented. They're letting Ben Bernanke come and speak to all the audience, and they're naming it the Civil Rights era. So the Fed is in full propaganda mode, I feel like, right now, at least more so than they've ever been.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think they've ever had a reason or need to put out a pamphlet on, we're taking care of your gold. Actually, though, that's come up before, because in the 70s, there was a rumor that Fort Knox didn't contain any gold, which I think it was. And they, they finally, after like some congressman hammered it, which was probably part of the Dog and Pony show, they did an audit where they brought in some news reporters, and we know how they love to challenge the state. And brought the cameras in and showed them the gold. And first of all, it was like they showed them vaults that were supposed to be like, went all the way back, and you could only see the layer of gold bricks in the front. So who knows what was behind it? Who knows if they were even gold? They could have been lead coated with gold. And they didn't show them, they showed them like 2 vaults and then like 50 empty or closed vault doors, and said, they all have the same in them.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I've been on these tours of government facilities that they have for reporters before. It's not like you think it is. It's probably like how you think the inspectors are shown around by Saddam Hussein.
It's a Dog and Pony show, man.
Yeah, that's really how it works. They take you to a specific room and they let you look in it and shoot B-roll. And then they ask if everybody's done shooting B-roll, and then they issue you out. If you want to go somewhere, you usually ask somebody, like, hey, can I go there or there?
No.
They'll either say no. Well, they'll actually never say no outright. They're like, oh, well, let me see if the person who runs that office is here today.
It reminds me of The Simpsons.
Sorry, he's at lunch.
It reminds me of The Simpsons, where they're auditing Springfield grade school or middle school for No Child Left Behind, and Seymour Skinner takes Lisa and Martin, the 2 smart nerds, and has they answer all the questions for the auditors. And then they take the bullies and the dumb kids and literally lock them in a storage closet for the day.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good point there. I don't know if letting reporters go to Fort Knox actually meant anything about anything. And what was there, that scandal about some gold the Fed or some American agency delivered to China. China checked it out, and it was actually tin or something covered with gold.
Well, I don't know, but the U.S. also delivered some amount of billions of U.S. currency to was it Iraq to rebuild after the war effort? And it disappeared. It just, the plane landed and then nobody could find it. And it was I don't know, $84 billion in $100 bills or something.
No, that was Petraeus's doing. I think that was part of Mr. Dear General, who doesn't get canned until he has a sex scandal.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's like Clinton. He murders all these
losing
people.
Billions of dollars. He gets
doesn't
canned
murder.
for
Doesn't get canned for losing billions of dollars. Doesn't get canned for murdering countless innocent people. Doesn't get cancered for even for like, days before the election, letting a bunch of Marines die and not sending anyone to rescue them, which from a statist point of view is just unacceptable. Vets are really upset about that. That was the other stuff I saw that I liked on Veterans Day was a lot of posts about that.
Yeah, that's true. Because it feels like even right-wingers are getting upset about what happened in Benghazi.
You never leave a guy behind. That's like Marine 101, man.
Yeah. Well, some people say that, the Benghazi thing might have something to do with the scandal and maybe is why the FBI was investigating.
But he may still be forced to testify.
That's the thing. Yeah. And that's like, duh, obviously, just because if you were leader at the time, just because you resigned doesn't mean you get a free pass to not testify.
I think you'd probably have less free pass as a citizen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go.
Let's go sell some stuff and then come back and talk about why everything is Woodrow Wilson's fault.
All right. Can I have about 5 minutes? I think I'm gonna make another cup of coffee since I'm out of
beer. Yeah. All right. Worms.
A science fiction comic adventure from Big Head Press. Quantum Vibe. It's year 2523. There are colonies on Venus, Mars, and Mercury. People travel in bubbles, fly at hyperspeed, with brain implants and artificial gravity. A scientific genius and his clever assistant set out on an adventure through the solar system on a secret mission to find the key to access new frontiers and save liberty. Quantum Vibe. There's a robot girl and zany creatures made with genetically engineered features, and corporate villains crave the opportunity to steal a profit from others' ingenuity. A scientific genius and his clever assistant set out on an adventure through the solar system on a secret mission to find the key to access new frontiers and save liberty. QuantumVibe.com.
Hi, I'm Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends, and like you, I'm concerned with privacy on the internet. The electronic police state is strangling our previous protections, and the central scrutinizer is trying to squint into all areas of our lives. That's why smart people surf the net with a VPN or virtual private network. I use a VPN from Bola VPN. Bola VPN has your utmost security in mind and will allow you to surf, email, and do other computing tasks without leaving a trail of breadcrumbs across the internet. Unlike many other VPN providers, Bola VPN doesn't log traffic. With Bola VPN, you can change your apparent location or disappear completely. Bola VPN has been around since 2007, which is OG in the VPN world. Bola VPN is easy to install and configure. Best of all, it can be had for less than 25 cents a day, which is a small price to pay for this much security. And if you open a support ticket saying you heard about them through the Freedom Fiends, they'll add 3 extra days free. That's Bola VPN at BOLEHVPN.net.
Want to contribute to Liberty but short on cash? You can help the Freedom Fiends without even spending a post-1964 dime. Download uTorrent and start seeding Fiends episodes. Follow twitter.com/FiendTorrents to grab the past episodes and new ones as they post. Leave your computer on, seeding the torrents, while you're at work or asleep. The more people seeding the Fiends, the more drone-proof we'll be when the boot comes down. That's twitter.com/FiendTorrents.
Nima, let's roll on this one.
Let's roll it. We're going to roll it, homie.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's this petition to secede now that Obama's elected.
There's tons of petitions to secede.
Well,
like you see all the different states and the number of people who have signed their petitions.
And it was kind of put speciously by one Yahoo. It said like 37 states sign petitions to secede. No, people in 37 states. The states are all still in the union.
It's those whitehouse.gov petitions.
And like, who would even do that? First of all, I think everybody who's doing this probably isn't a libertarian or an anarchist. They're probably people who'd want a Christian, what's another word for it? A religious, a Christian caliphate? I don't know. What kind, I don't know if I'd want to live in if it'd be any more pleasant living in the Christian paradise people who probably are trying to do this want to do.
They're crying to their mommy about Mitt Romney, kind of a thing.
Yeah. They're saying
those people.
Well, they're crying to their daddy that they don't like, basically. I mean, I was thinking, who would be foolish enough I don't even go to the White House site. I won't even look at it. It just offends me on a moral basis, and I don't want my IP address showing up on it. But somebody started a petition, from all these states started a petition of let's secede. And basically the thing is, if you get 25,000 signatures on a White House petition drive, Obama will allegedly look at it, which is his transparency, I guess. So, when he's not jailing whistleblowers, that's his transparency. So, and my immediate thought was, no, he'll look at it and then, throw those people in FEMA camps. Now, there's another petition calling for stripping citizenship and exiling anyone who signs the petition to secede, which is pretty much what I thought would happen. And although it says, peacefully deport them, I mean, maybe that's where they're going to go.
There's no such thing. That's the first thing that jumped out. Well, not the first thing that
they take all your shit and they throw you in a cage. Yeah. They wouldn't let you just go to Somalia.
Well, how can you be peacefully deported anyway? Like, if you don't want to be deported, you're not going to be peacefully deported.
There you go.
There's no such thing. That's like if somebody breaks in your house and you're like, sir, I will now peacefully remove you from my property.
With this gun.
He'll laugh and be like, good luck. Try to do it peacefully because I'm going to steal your shit.
Yeah, well, I mean,
can't peacefully deport somebody.
And a homeowner who didn't shoot the person would just peacefully deport someone from their property. They wouldn't come steal their home and their children and everything else before they did it. Like the state would. I mean, really, do you think the state is going to let anybody get out with their bug out bag of gold except for Obama, Bernanke, and who's the guy from Wyoming? Cheney.
Dick Cheney. Yeah.
I almost said Chintzy. I couldn't remember.
Here's the other thing, because they also say, some people were like, oh, I'm moving to Australia or France or Canada if president gets elected.
They never do. A bunch of lefties said that about Bush, about second term of Bush. Well, they're still here.
I feel like it's who's that adult contemporary singer from the 90s, Michael Bolton?
Yeah.
The one that remember
when a man loves a woman?
Yeah, in Office Space, there's like that nerd guy who works at the office in a tech.
Named Michael Bolton.
His name is also Michael Bolton. He goes, "Why should I have to change my name? He's the one who sucks."
Yeah,
I kind of feel like that about the country. Like, why should I have to move?
You're the one that
who sucks. Yeah. The government's the one that sucks.
Don't blame Obama. He's just the latest. I mean,
fine. The state's the one that sucks.
So that's a good segue into everything is Woodrow Wilson's fault. It's the 27th term of Woodrow Wilson with Obama.
Although somebody brought up the point that Calvin Coolidge or something was no Wilsonian, and it's like, okay, fine, there were probably a few here and there, but for the most part, like Scott Horton likes to say, everything is Woodrow Wilson's fault. And you actually did a little bit of look it up, and you posted on his wall and agreed with him, huh?
Well, I posted on my wall and tagged him, which is, then he comes in and talks, and then later he doesn't know who I am. But, I thought about off the top of my head, the Federal Reserve, the League of Nations, which became the UN, and the income tax are the three I could think of off the top of my head. And that's pretty much, without those three, we'd be living a lot closer to a libertarian paradise. And Scott Horton said, and don't forget the war. And I said, Scott Horton, always with the wars.
You should have said it in a Zoidberg or like an old Jewish accent, like always with the wars or something like that.
I was thinking that, but, which is kind of funny because his whole thing is anti-war, which is great, and that's why we love him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Funny. The Democratic Party was divided on the issue of prohibition. Wilson was progressive and sober, but not a dry, so he appealed to both sides. And I'm thinking, I wonder if that's where Bill Clinton got his idea to say, I smoked pot but didn't inhale. Which he said on an MTV, like meet the college students.
It was a talking point, like he knew ahead of time and he had planned that out, I'm sure. Just like Obama did the same thing with his, I inhaled, that's kind of the point. Like liberals and stuff like to point to that, but he said it like 3 times. Like you can look it up on YouTube. Like he says the exact same verbatim line like 3 or 4 times in 3 or 4 different venues. So it was totally a talking point.
And he did coke, but he wants to put everyone in jail who does that or inhales pot or smokes pot.
That's the other thing. Yeah, that makes it worse to be Obama.
It really
does. Say something like that and then still throw people in jail. Have more raids on medical marijuana facilities in your 4 years than Bush did in his 8 years. Than George Bush. He's more anti-pot than George Bush, to all you liberal
Barack Obama hates black people. Tracy Jordan.
Yeah. But yes, but you don't care, do you? You Obama lovers. I shouldn't even say that because you're happy with him sticking the sword in your guts as he slits your throat with his knife, and you still love him and have that glisten in your eyes as you look at him and say, "I love Big Brother."
That's a good story, Nima, but I don't hear my name in it. That's a Jenna Maroney line. That's a good story, Jack, but I don't hear my name in it.
Yeah. That's what it reminds me of, though.
I should have said that to my dad. That's a good story, Jack, because his name is Jack. That's a good story, Jack, but I don't hear my name in it. He just would have been dumbfounded. Like, what?
What are you talking about?
What is this 30 Rock of which you speak? What is?
What is? Yeah.
So your dead Mike on the chopping block is going to be the picture for today's cast.
We didn't talk about that yet. I
Dead
guess we talked about
Mike,
Mike's a little bit.
Dead Mike in the house. It's a dead microphone, and I want to say this microphone was dead, and you took it apart to try to fix it, and it really was dead, and then you destroyed it in anger.
Yes.
And I want to say, don't stop contributing to the Fiends. Don't think we're going to buy
It was
equipment
already
and then
dead.
destroy it. It was dead.
I tried to fix
cool.
it and couldn't.
Yeah. But Dead Mike is also the name of one of the rappers in CB4.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he'd be the MC because that was made in 1985 or something.
So yeah, that whooshing sound, the conch shell, the problems we've been having with the mics on the Curry show.
Wasn't the gear I sent you, which you thought?
No,
wasn't the tube,
which I thought
I sent you good stuff, man. But
it was my condenser mic, which I've had for about 7 years now. I thought those things lasted forever, man. I didn't.
Well, let me ask you this: do you what do you do with it when you're not using it? Do you just leave it on the stand?
Well, usually I put it back in its case. But I never leave it on the stand because the stand isn't completely stable, and I have cats that sneak into my recording office sometimes and knock shit over. But lately I've just been leaving it on the desk, like on top of the coiled up XLR cable that I used to.
Okay, that's why you killed it. Condenser mics are really sensitive to smoke and humidity. And
I don't smoke it inside. I do not smoke.
Yeah, but there's humidity. You live in
Texas.
You live in this world, and it has humidity. And you live in Texas. Really, what I do with mics, I leave them on the stand, and I cover them up with a clean sock. That keeps them fresh and healthy.
Okay.
And I don't really use condenser mics anymore. I use ribbons.
That was the
dynamics.
lesson in this. That's why it's I got a six good years out of it. Paid $100 for it. That's cool. And then I learned the lesson of why the hell would I use a condenser mic anyway when I could use a dynamic mic for most things, and then use a ribbon mic when I really want that cool, unique recording sound. So,
and ribbon mics are almost as persnickety as condenser mics. Really, dynamic mics are the way to go, unless you're. I mean, we're recording over something and then squishing it down over mumbles to like 2/3 of the resolution, and then squishing it down to MP3 later, and we still sound great. Yeah. But there's really not. You're not going to get the nuance that you get from a really expensive or even normal condenser mic. And that's a mistake a lot of podcasters make. They go out and buy condenser mics. It makes more sense for recording, like rapping or whatever, like you do. But even for rapping, doesn't have, it's more like a brick, and you kind of want it to be a brick. Whereas you'd want a condenser mic for like an opera singer.
Well, I've always thought of rapping as the percussion, whereas vocals are like playing strings or violin or something like that, or guitar or whatever. It's melodic, but rapping, when it's done well, it should really be more like percussion.
And every rapper,
and you use dynamic mics to mic drums, don't you? So that would make sense to use a dynamic mic for rapping.
Use condensers for the overhead if you know what you're doing. But the thing is too, condenser mics. You know what you're doing, sort of, but you don't have mic technique, really. But you know what you're doing recording wise. But people that aren't, haven't spent their life recording like you and I have, should not get condenser mics. You haven't earned it yet, which is not an insult. It's more like a condenser mic can sound amazing if you know what you're doing, but if you don't, it's going to sound horrible. A dynamic mic is going to sound good no matter what. It's never going to sound really amazing, but it's going to sound pretty good. Good if you don't know what you're doing, and really good if you do know what you're doing. So, and most people should get an SM57 or SM58, which is the $99 mic. And as I've said, if you see them for a lot less than that, they're counterfeit. Yeah. And if you really know what you're doing and you're really experienced like me, you get to have the Beta SM57A. The 57A, which costs $130, but I've earned that. I know how to use it, and I'm getting that next week. So everyone should use. Really, if you're starting out podcasting, you should get the $17 mic that I'm using right now, and then work up to, if you need it, an SM57 or 58.
Yeah.
which are almost identical. The basic difference is the ball on the end. The 58 has a round ball, which doesn't cut your teeth the way an SM57 does.
Okay.
And then the Beta 57A is a vast advancement from the 57. It has a transformer. It sounds better. It's 4 decibels louder. It's got more high end and more low end. It's got an indestructible ball on the end. It's a hard steel ball as opposed to a soft steel ball. And it's, it's what people that know what they're doing like me should use.
Yeah. Well, I guess it was good that the mic died most of all because I learned that lesson. Why waste your time on a condenser mic for most projects, especially podcasting, when you can have a dynamic mic? I still really love the ribbon mic. Like I haven't really messed with the dynamic mic. It's on its way. I love the ribbon mic.
It's kind of like a primitive dynamic mic that sounds better.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Whereas a condenser mic, condenser mics are what you use to record an orchestra. They're what you use to record really complex sounds. And dynamic mics and ribbon mics work better for simpler sounds like talking or rapping.
Okay.
Or drums. Drums are kind of complex to record well. Cymbals have a lot of overtones, and there's a lot of different things in a drum kit. So generally, the easy, good way to mic a drum kit is an SM57 or 58. Actually 57 because it doesn't stick out as far. It's harder to hit with the drumstick by accident. You put an SM57 between the snare and the hi-hat. You put an SM57 on the bass drum about 2 inches away from it with a hole cut in the front or with nothing, no skin on the front. And then you put, one on the bass drum, one between the snare and the hi-hat, and then 2 condenser mics overhead, like 6 feet above the drum kit.
Though, somebody's already recorded every kind of drum sound that you could want. And so just take their recording of the single drum hits and play them on a sampler.
All of the drums on the Right Arm of Wyoming album are loops of real drum recordings. And it sounds like real fucking
loops,
punk rock.
Loops are great, but some people want to have more control, and you can with the same concept. You just chop the loop up and put it on your MPC pads, or
I did it in Acid. I would defy 99% of people in a blind hearing test without being told whether those are real drums or not, or whether someone's playing the drums or whether they're done electronically somehow. Most people would think that someone's playing the drums in a room.
If you want it to sound like that. The beautiful thing about electronic drums is sometimes you don't want them to sound at all like
I did want it to sound like that. I wanted
them to have an 808 sound.
I wanted that to sound like a raging punk rock band in a club with 100 people in it.
Right.
Or
And it
50
does.
people.
It does. I guess what I'm trying to say though is there's a lot of beauty in electronic music.
All of the music that we use on our Sunday show, for the intros and outros on the live LRN show,
It's all Michael playing guitar.
It's all me playing guitar and bass and loops of actual punk rock drumming from a library of punk rock drum loops.
Yeah.
Yep.
Worms.
So, we got some news from Julian Assange. He says a reelected Obama is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I wish the hippies would listen to him. I think there's hippies who like him, but they probably still voted for Obama.
Yeah.
He says
probably.
Obama seems to be a nice man, and that is precisely the problem.
I really love that line. And although, what's going on with Julian Assange? Like, is he free and able to say things like that? He's not still in some prison in Europe somewhere?
He's in London in some consulate of some South American country that is letting him be there. Basically, the idea is, he'll probably get arrested the minute he steps outside. So he's put himself there, stuck there somehow. And
do you know which South American country? Is it Venezuela?
No. What is it? I'll look it up. But I don't know why they don't sneak him out in the laundry truck or something. But that's probably being watched.
Yeah, man. Screw Obama, and that's one good point. Although I guess if you know who Julian Assange is, you probably know about WikiLeaks, and that means you probably know about Bradley Manning. So if you don't already hate Obama, then you're one of those people that's beyond hope. If you're one of those people, if you know about those things and you still love Obama, you're just one of those religious people who
Obama could stab your child in front of you, and you lick the blood up and sanctify and draw a cross on your forehead with it.
Right. Who could shove your fetus that he just ripped out of your stomach up his ass, and you'd still love him.
Julian Assange is in the London Ecuadorian embassy.
Ecuador. Okay. Props to
And
Ecuador.
he says it's better to have a sheep in wolf's clothing than a wolf in sheep's clothing. All of the activities against WikiLeaks by the United States have occurred under the Obama administration. That's true. He was active during Bush, but I'm really glad he's speaking out against Obama and the administration, because I kind of got the feeling that WikiLeaks, at least under Bush, like they only seemed to leak right-wing stuff and didn't go after Democrats. But I guess now that the Democrats are going after him and asking for demanding his head on a pike.
I don't know if that's so true, though, because a lot of the stuff he was leaking, I think, implicated horrible things that Hillary Clinton was saying, too. So I think the difference is
not at the start.
Julian Assange and WikiLeaks, they may have a lefty feel, but I don't think that means they're partisan towards the Democrats in America. They may want the solution to be socialism, but I don't think that makes them Democrat humpers or Obama humpers. So there's a distinction to make there. Just because you're lefty doesn't mean you love Obama. I mean, the guys who do Boondocks, I mean, they're lefty, but they hate Obama too and make videos say Dick riding Obama. You know?
And actually, the American Socialist Party is really not pleased with Obama. I mean, it's not even a matter of he doesn't go too far. It's like, they didn't endorse him. That's another thing Wilson did, was threw in prison the guy who ran for president under the Socialist Party.
He threw a lot of people in prison then, wasn't there a lot of people in World War I that just got jailed for protesting
speaking
the war,
out against
speaking
the war.
out against it?
Yep.
Yeah.
So square, man.
Woodrow frickin' Wilson.
In a way, I'd say that we live in the most free America's ever been in some senses, and probably headed towards the least free. I mean, I really think we're the most free with free speech, because people are not generally getting jailed for speaking out against the war, and they can do it on the internet and reach the world from their bedroom like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
And
I like Stefan Molyneux's thing when you interviewed him about it's kind of like Tron, right? Like we're both the freedom movement, or the freedom mission, as Ben Stone likes to call it now. We've got more resources than ever, and so we're going full speed ahead as fast as we can. But the state's doing the same thing. So there is this dichotomy where we both are going balls to the wall. And I like to think freedom wins in the end. But
I'd say with guns too, in a way. I mean, there's probably more gun regulations than there ever been. And before 1934, you could order a machine gun from Sears through the mail with no background check. But I think probably more people own guns in America now than ever, and there's more consciousness about it and awareness of it. And it's like, it's not a fringe idea to say, hey, they're trying to take our guns, let's stop them. It's like there are between 90 and 100 million Americans who own guns, and most of them own a bunch of guns. And
well, I also feel like a lot of the people who own guns now, one of the gun or NRA type sites, something like that, did a write up on the new generation of gun owners, and how more so than ever, it's not just you love guns or you have guns because your grandpa did and your dad did, and it's just been a part of the culture and hunting. More people are not having grown up in that culture, but looking at it and philosophically saying, hey, guns are great because they defend me, and I want to defend myself, and I want to be self-reliant. So more people are self-aware of the reason to defend yourself and own guns than I think ever before.
Did the NRA recommend the movie Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom in that article?
No, I'm not sure if it was NRA. It might have been something more freedom-oriented than that. I forget, but it seemed to be coming.
JPFO.
It seemed to be coming from a square angle, like I'm 50 years old and I've always had guns, and we should not be upset about the new generation of gun owners because they're more self-aware about
a lot of those people are really upset about the generation of gun owners that are you and I. And I'm almost 50 years old, but it's like,
are they though?
I am not my father's gun nut. My dad's not even a gun nut. I mean, he literally he fired the Mosin once and handed it back to me, which is partially because he's a kind of frail old 91-year-old man and has a lot of kick. But, he didn't want to fire the AK. He wanted to fire my 22. He's kind of scared of the AK. He actually said to me, like, why do you need to he didn't say, why do you need to have something like that? But he was just like, I don't know. I think that kind of looks kind of like too military for me. I like my grandpa's guns, his wooden, he didn't say that, but his wooden 22s.
Grandpa's guns. Well, that thing I said in the last Thursday show about how, guns is not a need-based thing. It's a want-based thing. It's I want to have guns. I think our generation definitely feels that way. I don't think I came up with that concept. I was trying to put it into words, and I think a lot of people in our gun generation feel that way. It's not I need a gun for this purpose, so I must buy it.
Right, and he certainly didn't question me owning a bunch of guns. And he was, one of the things he said when he left, he and I had a real heart-to-heart that I'm not going to go into a lot of on the internet, but it was like really healing for me. He sat me down and said things to me I've been waiting for him to say for 40 some years. And it was really good. And in it, there was one thing that was kind of like not really related, but it was like, basically said like, I'm really proud of you. And compared me to my siblings, like, I'm really proud of you for a lot of reasons. And one is that, unlike some other people in the family, you really understand the Second Amendment. I mean, he couldn't put it in like anarcho-capitalist terms, but that meant a lot to me. Yeah. And, and he kind of made amends for some other stuff for like kind of not being there a lot, over the years. Yeah. But, it was really good and really healing for me. And he was really into that I'm into guns. And, when the TSA stole that paper target of his out of his luggage, he told me on the phone, well, I'm probably on someone's list now, so he gets what's going on.
Good. Yeah, that's awesome. So, I lost 7 pounds on the pizza only diet.
Really? Somebody actually, I don't know if I could tell you about this on the podcast, but
I saw it. Yeah, don't say it.
Okay. Well, my response was cute. The young Jackie Gleason.
Yeah. I still got a belly, but it's diminishing.
Man, Feems diet. I've lost 21
muscles
pounds.
Are getting bigger.
I've lost 21 pounds and not gone up from that, and been down to like 22 or 23 pounds, but stayed at minimum of 21 pounds lost for a couple months now on the Feems diet.
Yeah. I'm going to keep doing my thing, and hopefully I'll be back to my skinny weight eventually.
Your fighting weight? Your fucking weight? Damn it.
Fighting weight.
Hang on. I got to stop this because I got to remember to edit that out. We were cuss-free for the whole episode, I think.
No, I said it at one point.
Oh, shit. All right. Well,
you can say it on TV now, so it's not that big a deal.
Let's go sell something.
All right.
Gun Training with the Non-Aggression Principle, Volume 1. Basic Handgun and Rifle with Jared Waltz.
First rule of being alive is you own yourself.
A groundbreaking approach to firearms and self-defense training. Beautifully filmed and easy to understand instructions make this one a must-have. Gun Training with the Non-Aggression Principle, Volume 1. New DVD from Michael W. Dean, available on Amazon.
Your house is your property.
Roland, I'm just going to say that is so square, but go ahead.
You're listening to the Freedom Fiends podcast. Freedom Fiends is now available for 24/7 streaming to your iPhone, Android phone, or other chromed robot turd. Click on the streaming audio link on freedomfiends.com. That's freedomfeens.com. Have you swallowed too much of the state's poison? The Freedom Fiends will stick their fingers down your throat and hold your hair back while you hurl. Check out the new show, The Freedom Fiends Agenda, on Adam Curry's No Agenda Global Radio, streaming live every Thursday from 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. East Coast U.S. time. Listen live at nagradio.com. That's nagradio.com. Call in soon before they get droned.
Go Freedom Fiends.
Freedom Fiend, helping the helpless. Freedom Fiend, saving the universe. Freedom Fiend, doing the things that are
Saving the world from the state, fighting the forces of hate.
Freedom Fiend, helping the helpless. Freedom Fiend, kicking the hornet's nest. Freedom Fiend, doing the things that are
Keeping
good.
the tasers away, you should be free, not a slave.
Freedom Fiend, helping the helpless. Freedom Fiend, saving the universe. Freedom Fiend, doing the things that are
Drugs
good.
a pepper spray, the fed groups will torture you, but you'll hear the truth today. Yeah, we will not force you to. Stopping the cops on the block, for the fiends on the block. Ain't never gonna stop and the glass go blow.
Yeah, so Square, you were responding to UN eyeing global tax on banking and internet activity to fund the World Health Organization. There's so many things wrong with that sentence, so you must say your requisite. That is so Square.
That is so square.
Are there any global taxes yet, though? I guess that's the question I first had. Would this be precedent-setting in the sense that it would be the first global government tax scheme?
If there are, they're probably hidden. And I think if they implement this, it'll probably be at the service provider level. Like your cost will go up. I mean, it'd be a lot easier to charge one internet service provider than 100,000 customers.
Of course, that always gets passed on to the end user, as Ben Stone has shown in recent podcasts. And which I've always said, and one of the reasons I hated the economic illiteracy of the news station I worked for, one of them at least, who said, I don't care about some companies' profits, let them get taxed. It's like, well, that doesn't work that way.
They're going to tax you, man.
They're going to keep their profits the same and tax the end user. Idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, duh. So, but, there is, I think, examples of the UN asking for money. I don't know if they really have the guns to demand it in the way, the IRS can from you. But I think they ask different governments for money and get it. So that would be one way. But I think this way, they're trying to tax daily transaction, everyday financial transaction, like paying bills online.
Well, there are global taxes because there are things, I mean, they might not be global. It might be every country that's in the UN or every company with money, country with same thing, country with money in the UN, because they have like that one laptop for every child thing, which was a really neat technological thing. They made these Linux powered, solar powered laptops that worked with a wireless protocol called mesh computing, which is basically every computer doesn't have to be within operating distance of the wireless router. They just all have to be within range of a computer that's within the wireless router.
Like peer-to-peer?
Yeah, which is actually a way that some there's a hacking company that has software to do that and hardware to where you could possibly have the internet after the government set it up, but you'd have to plan for it ahead of time. So, but it was a really neat technological thing. Those little green laptops that cost about $100 each to manufacture, and they've given tons of them to children in third world countries, but it was paid for, a lot of it, by, America chipped in $10 million, England chipped in $5 million kind of thing. And that's a tax.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is, that's usually how these UN things work, is governments give them money. But if you know anything about anything, you know that governments don't produce a product, they don't sell anything, they don't have any legitimate profits or any legitimate money of their own.
No, so they steal, they print, and they borrow. Right. That's how they make money.
So if the USA gives the World Health Organization $50 million to do such and such HIV malaria program, what the US is really doing is they're taking $50 million from the American economy, i.e. the American people, and giving that to the
UN. And
that's
already taken care of a lot with private stuff, like Rotary International. My dad's involved with that. They raise money from local businessmen chip in who are members, and they get businessmen who aren't in to chip in, and they go to Africa and they dig wells, and they donated a few $100 to Kofi. I mean, they help Africa, get its resistance up before AFRICOM goes in, and they're going to invade Mali, Mali, that country.
Yeah. Apparently what happened was it's basically spillover from the Libya intervention. So it's another
Al-Qaeda moved next door.
Right. Well, some people say it's not even Al-Qaeda. It's the Tuaregs, which I guess are a nomadic group in northern Africa.
Yeah, but most Americans don't understand that. You just say Al-Qaeda, and it's like Al-Qaeda, sort of, so they get it.
Okay. Well, that's a problem, isn't it? It's a problem. So but that's the main point I think we need to make, is it's spillover from Libya. It's not this spontaneous, it's not like they just popped out of nowhere
They
and decided
moved.
that there's a problem in Mali. No. This is a result of the instability of Libya that we caused because Susan Rice wanted to look like she was doing something, and because Hillary Clinton wanted to make it look like America wasn't the bad guy in the Arab Spring. So these domestic policy concerns, these politicians that wanted to look like they were doing something and get good PR at home, that's what's causing the unrest in Mali, which will cause us to go in and do some kind of intervention there, which will cause more intervention.
Us? Speak for yourself, man.
Us, the U.S. That's what I meant by us. I didn't say the U.S.
You know, that's like one of the weird
smushed them together.
corrupt things about the name the U.S. It's like us.
Is it us?
It's so made for horizontal enforcement.
It really is. It really is. But back to the World Health Organization, like you were saying, do you even really need this? Like, would this, in any kind of sane world, would you need a global government organization to do things like this?
Well, you know, somebody sent me a really interesting documentary. God, I wish I should know the name of this if I'm going to mention it on here. It's about how DDT is a good thing. And, like now that DDT, the pesticide, is banned, like way more people,
malaria and deaths from that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I've heard of that. But yeah, maybe we should rewatch that and talk about it on
it's called 3 billion and
show.
counting. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, I was thinking the World Health Organization, not only is it like Rotary, but Red Cross. And whenever there's a big disaster, you know, Red Cross does a lot of the work, but also so many other just private people go in and donate money. You know, you raise millions or billions of dollars when there's an earthquake somewhere or a tsunami in Japan. Do you need a World Health Organization? I don't think so. And here's another thing we missed in the story is the global tax on banking and internet was just one proposal for a tax to fund the World Health Organization. Another one was a 10% tax on international arms trade. So I wonder if that means more than just, you know, America getting Iraq to buy F-16s. I wonder if that would also include small arms and, you know, buying surplus Mosins from former Soviet Union countries.
I think Mosin purchase or ammo Mosin purchase from Russia and former Soviet bloc countries is going to effing disappear. That'd be the easiest thing for Obama to do, and I think he's going to do it. So stock
I really
up,
hope
people.
not, but I do worry, and in fact, that's going to be my next discretionary purchase. I was going to buy more gear and a mixer or something.
Gear. That's gear. Gear
Mosin ammo
acquisition
is
syndrome.
Gear. You're right. But I'm down to the bare minimum. Like, I shot a bunch of my spammo, and there was a threshold I set for myself and said, stop shooting ammo at this point. And I've reached that point. You know, this is my S hits the fan amount of Mosin ammo I have, and I'd obviously like to have more than that. You know, to go out and target shoot and, you know, have more ammo for defending myself and hunting for myself if the S hits the F, which it could. I don't know.
Yeah, 3 billion and counting. Good documentary. It's done by a doctor who's a licensed MD, but also is into alternative cures. And
what's his name?
Dr. Rutledge. It's 3billionandcounting.com is the website. And let's see, Terry. Oh, great, yeah. I think is her username, something like that. Like, oh, great, yeah, Terry or whatever. A Fiend fan sent me this DVD, asked for the address. I don't usually let people send me things, but I trust her. So I gave her my address. She sent it to me, P.O. Box. And, but he's like, yeah, with the EPA, Greenpeace, World Wildlife Fund, and Sierra refused interviews, Dr. Rutledge knew he had touched a nerve. I'm trying to look for who does the music in this. It's pretty awesome. Debbie Gibson is the girlfriend of the director. You know, Debbie Gibson, the pop singer from the 80s?
No.
Who now does
what'd she sing?
She now does really cool movies. She did the theme song for this. She now does really cool stuff. She does like horror films. Like she's in this movie called like, you know, Croctopus versus Velociraptor or something. Well, put it this way. When you type Debbie into YouTube, it autofills Gibson. So, she was that big of a hit back in the day.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's find a Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. Tiffany's another one who was an singer from back then who's an actor now. Let's listen to Only in My Dreams from 1987. You know, she's like the reason that those other pop tartlets who are lesser. What are their names? You know, the ones now?
The what now?
pop tartlets, the chick singers. Christina Aguilera. Who are the rest of them?
That's still too old school. God, who's that lady that sings "I Just Met You" and "This Is Crazy"? That lady, she'd be one of them.
Yeah.
And Katy Perry. That's probably the most.
Yeah,
one.
this kind of chick, Debbie Gibson, paved the way for Katy Perry. Let's listen.
Yeah,
here.
Katy Perry didn't sing that song I was just singing, but that's another example. It's Katy Perry, and here's Debbie Gibson.
It's kind of that like selling virginity Disney pop kind of stuff. They're all like 18 to 20 is their primary years of output, or 16 to 20, and they're blonde and perky and dance and have a disco beat that doesn't scare people. It's Debbie Gibson.
Yeah, I feel no need for any of that. Why were we talking about her again?
Oh, because she does the theme song. She's cool now. She does she really B-movie sci-fi channel horror movies where she gets eaten in the middle of the third act kind of thing by the beast, whatever it is. She always plays. All those movies always have the formula is they always have some 60-year-old guy who's the scientist that no one's listening to, but they finally do. And he always has a daughter who's a scientist who's about 30 and hot. And Debbie Gibson plays that character in this movie in Croctopus versus Velocigator or whatever the hell it was we watched.
Okay.
Giant mutant animals, and the local rednecks go out with their deer rifles in the swamp and try to stop the mutant animal and then get eaten. And then Debbie Gibson and her father solve it.
Yeah.
So,
like Will Coley posted on his Facebook, everybody makes fun of the rednecks until the apocalypse.
Yeah. Well, I think about that. I mean, I think the people who are screaming for FEMA to help them in the East Coast from the hurricane that FEMA is putting into literally camps, taking them away from the Red Cross shelter in the public high school that's working, and then puts them into tents and, threatens journalists and turns off the Wi-Fi, and they're freezing with helicopters keeping them up all night. The same people that still yell for FEMA after being in that are the same people who probably watch those prepper shows and go, the government should jail these people.
Yeah.
Peacefully deport them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing about FEMA is, imagine the DMV was in charge of whether you live or die. Does that seem like a rational thing to want?
Well, that's what Obamacare is going to be. I mean, something like the DMV, but worse, that isn't tested yet, like the DMV sort of works, is going to be in charge of. The DMV works, but really slowly and horribly. Something like the DMV that hasn't been tested yet, that's going to have bugs to work out, is going to be in charge of your health care. I got to go see a doctor about a couple, minor pains and aches I have. And I'm going to do that soon and pay for it out of pocket before Obama free healthcare takes over, and I have to wait in line for a year to, see a doctor. It's, there's a lot of backlash right now, like Papa John's Pizza. And we talked about the other company that was, who was it? Applebee's. There's a few companies that are saying we're going to lay off people because Obamacare is going to put us out of business. And stupid leftists are like, let's boycott those companies. They're going to hurt people by
yeah, that'll help them keep their employees, idiots.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like rioting in your own neighborhood to protest the rich,
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, man. I don't know. Can't we boycott Obamacare? It seems like that'd be the right solution.
Well, Wyoming, we talked about all the things that were passed that were good.
There were a few states that had a 10th Amendment nullification kind of initiative.
Wyoming's one of them.
Yeah.
Although that just means if they succeed at that, Wyoming state is going to be in charge of our Obamacare, our Wyomacare, which I don't know if I trust them much better than the federal government. Although I guess I do, because Wyoming is the only state that still has a surplus, and don't tell anyone at the federal level, but we still have a giant surplus, man. Wyoming has $100 million in surplus, which for a state this size is huge. There's 500,000 people. I was going to say 50 million people.
It's the least populous state in all of
and we have the most money sitting in a big bank somewhere in gold bars in Matt Mead's basement or something. I don't know. Gold bars and rifles. I don't know what they're doing with it.
Yeah.
So will
But
the
yeah,
people in Washington and Colorado who are in prison for pot already be freed?
I think a demo was asking that question on Facebook, and in some counties, because I guess it's up to the prosecuting
The sheriff,
attorney at the
the
county
DA.
level. Yeah, so in King County, which is where Seattle is, apparently he has applied it retroactively. I don't know how far back. Like, the good question is, how long at this point do you have to be?
Well,
Then
are
there's this
DAs always elected or are they sometimes appointed? Because if they're elected and a majority voted for this law, a majority could vote to unelect them. And DA is a
think
pretty
it-
sweet government job, man. It
is,
pays really well. You get lots of there's lots of opportunity for graft, and you get to throw people in jail.
which apparently some
Which,
people who have
if they
libido
have
dominante
libido
get off on.
you took the words out of my mouth, man.
Yeah,
You stole the words out of my family's mouth.
They took our words.
Took our words.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess that's going to happen on a county by county basis. So we'll see. But there's this other thing that you have to remember is there are probably a lot of people that are in jail for more than
Pot
possession.
and resisting arrest. And
Yeah,
they'll get rid of the pot charge and keep you for the resisting arrest when you got arrested for pot.
Right. So, I mean, really, this is still just trimming around the edges. And I tried to make
Although
that
if I
point
were
in
in
other
jail and I
casts.
got freed, I'd be happy about it. I wouldn't go, I'm an anarchist. I'm staying in prison. And I'm not using the roads.
Yeah, that's funny. Good point. So
The
yeah.
Huffington Post took Ron Paul to task because someone asked him, do you cash your Social Security checks? And he said, yes. But you pay into them by force. It's not like and he doesn't take his government salary. What's he do with it? Does he give it back or just doesn't take it or what?
I think he doesn't take any profit over it. He gets if you're a congressman, you get like a budget for your office, your congressional office, and I think he does use some of it, for I don't know, paper in the printer or whatever, or hiring
Keeping
his
the
aides.
lights on.
Yeah. So, but he does give some of it back. He just gives it right back to the government. Which I guess it's better than not doing that, but Ben would say, "Hey, if you use 1 penny of that money,
I still love Ron Paul, man. And you and I and Ben bash Ron Paul and call him the
I don't
our
bash
favorite.
Ron Paul. I just say, up your game. You're amazing at speaking. I'm glad he is, retiring from Congress. But it took me, you, and Ben time to realize that there was no hope in the political system.
Yeah,
too.
but Ron Paul was also an important part of you, me, and Ben coming to this. I mean, I literally think if
He
it weren't
was.
for Ron Paul or someone who took the place of Ron Paul, which they probably would have, but I don't know if anybody could have sustained it as long as him. He's amazing with that. But if it weren't for Ron Paul, I would probably be lazily voting for Obama now.
I hope not, but yeah, you might be right. Yeah, just imagine if Ron Paul and Barney Frank switched bodies or switched life stories, but had the same policies. Like, yeah, I don't know if I'd be brought to liberty by Barney Frank.
He's well, me neither, but it's not because he's gay, of course, like it is with you.
No,
I'm kidding.
I'm not trying to.
kidding.
I'm not trying to say.
It's
that.
because he's annoying and he sounds like Elmer
Yeah.
Fudd, man. I mean,
Right.
Ron Paul doesn't have the most pleasant speaking voice in the world, but it doesn't make me want to laugh and run away like with Barney Frank.
Barney Frank.
Barney
Yeah.
Frank. So, got a couple things left, and I think we're out. So, Obama's moving to ban gun imports. Senator Dianne Feinstein moves to ban all assault rifles, high capacity magazines, and pistol grips because we know how dangerous pistol grips are on rifles. But I think it's just Obama's plan is to
Is
jail.
that thumb thingy that goes up?
Yeah, it's the thumb thingy that goes up your butt, Feinstein. I think it's Obama's plan is just to jail everyone who votes Republican so he can have a third term.
I don't think that. And the reason being is, I think the ritual of voting every 4 years and the ritual of having this system that people who are dumb believe actually changes things.
Yeah, because he'd look like a tyrant if it was a one-party system.
Right.
But if it's a two-party system that's really one party and it's rigged and it's immoral, then it looks democratic to people.
Right. It's the whole Carol Quigley thing. You have to have the two parties.
No, you
even
know
though
what
they
I
have
think-
the same policies.
You know what
have
I
to
think
have
will
it.
happen is I think Eric Holder is going to, if he doesn't become a Supreme Court judge, I think he's going to run. No, I think Hillary's going to run as the Democrat in 4 years.
Yeah.
And I
'Cause we
think-
all know it ain't going to be Biden. We all know that.
I think that Cass Sunstein from the Obama camp is going to become a Republican. Although, he's never declared. He's never run for anything. He could become a Republican and become the Republican candidate.
Well, you could be right. We've all seen that you don't have to actually have any kind of values to be the Republican candidate and to have all the idiots out there who vote Republican vote for you just because they hate the Democrat too much. I mean, look at Romney. Romney was in no way, shape, or form, in line with the values of the average Republican voter. But they all still showed up like sheep to the polls and cast their vote for him.
he was a gun grabbing, pro-abortion,
Pro-socialized healthcare.
pro-socialized healthcare. I mean,
Wrote
those three things.
Obamacare. Obamacare just crossed out state of Maryland and wrote in United States on Romney's Maryland care thing. Massachusetts.
Same thing.
Yeah, one of those M's.
So, two music things I want to say, and then I want to go to playing this song "Drone" from my band Michael, which was previously called "The Day I Lost My Virginity," from DC, with Peggy singing and me playing guitar and piano, and Peggy acoustic piano. Mic'd with a condenser mic, and Michael Sulkind playing drums. He's a lawyer now in Denver. So, two things. We talked about Natalie Merchant being anti-gun, girl from 10,000 Maniacs, or One Housewife, as
One
you called them.
Housewife.
She's also anti-littering. I remember seeing them play at the Chautauqua, New York Boys and Girls Club to a teen audience. Chautauqua was the summer place where my mother had her store, and I grew up there, and it was really cool, and I liked it. And I remember Natalie playing there, and between songs, she said over her SM57 that she carried in her purse. The band would carry in all the heavy equipment, and she'd walk in and pull her SM57 mic out of the purse.
That's kind of cute, though. I got to give props for that.
It's kind of cute, but it's kind of also because she didn't like to have beer smell of other people, other people's mic. So,
okay.
But it was also like kind of
That's less
what's
cute.
the word? Diva-esque, like, okay, you carry the amps, and I'll carry my little mic in my purse.
If I'm ever a famous rapper, I'll carry one as a gun holster.
A holster. I was just
on
going
my
to say,
hip.
you need a holster.
Yeah.
So, but she, between songs, she said in a really condescending voice like this, like she said, "Now, I just want to say that we got here early and I walked around Chautauqua and I saw a lot of litter, even in front of the Boys and Girls Club. And when I was a little girl and came to Chautauqua in the summer, I never saw litter. And I really think you need to stop littering and stop people from littering."
When did you? What time? Like 1993? Like when did she say this? Because that was
82,
I feel like that-
man, 81, 80.
Oh, it was early. Are you sure it wasn't 91, 92?
No, and I know I make that mistake sometime, but no, this was right around the time I went off to the church front. No, it was summer. No, it was like 80 or 81.
Okay,
Maybe 79. But
I think it was. I was gonna say maybe it's like a music meme or a pop music meme because I know some people who are credited as being the first Dirty South rappers, which I'm not sure if that's true or not. But out of Atlanta, the Goody Mob, where CeeLo comes from.
Yeah.
The Goody Mob in their first album, I think they had a skit that was anti-littering. It was like don't take your little candy, throw that shit on the ground in the hood. That's not cool.
were they making fun of it or serious about it?
No, they were serious about it. Yeah.
Well, I don't mind. I like people picking up litter as activism, especially if they're open carrying guns like people do in New Hampshire. That's what Natalie Merchant would probably be horrified by. But
I guess it's one of those things to where be anti-littering, but don't be pro-state enforcement of anti-littering, right?
so some guy named Matthias, Mathias, the German name, Matthias Erbe, ERBE, however you'd say that. It's a German name. Who's a friend of Jack Endino's, so I believe that he knew Kurt Cobain. A friend of mine recently posted the bomb song "I Love You Then I Died" on Facebook, and Matthias Erbe said, "Kurt Cobain and I listened to this tune over and over. Amazing."
Awesome. Oh,
and I knew that the other two guys, in Nirvana had come to see Bomb live and knew all the words, but I figured Kurt Cobain was always too busy shooting drugs and shooing away his crazy wife to
the
listen
other
to Bomb.
two guys, Chris Novoselic and
Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl, really?
I told you
That's
that.
awesome too. I didn't know that. No, you didn't tell me that.
I love what a short memory you have. I talked about that about a year ago on this cast. Okay, maybe I didn't. Maybe I talked to
I don't
my
think
wife
you did.
about it, and I just think that everything that I say
I knew
goes
that.
out
I knew
to
that
the
Chris
universe.
Novoselic. I knew that Chris Novoselic was a fan because
he
I knew
wrote
that you
he
still
wrote
got
a
to
blog
touch
about
them.
it, but
I didn't know that about Dave Grohl.
well, I didn't know that about Kurt Cobain. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's like.
So
That's like if
everyone
somebody was like to me, yeah, Jay-Z heard your little mixtape there and thought it was dope.
I know.
That'd be like, oh, what?
I know.
So wow, that's awesome.
So that is awesome.
I bow to you and say I am not worthy.
Thanks. All right. So let's listen to this song, Drone.
Well, hold on. I kind of want to listen to "I Loved You, Then I Died" now, or let's save that for a Thursday cast and we'll play that as a break song.
You never
Do
heard
you
it?
not own the rights to it?
Oh, I own the rights to it.
All right. Well, I want to. I think
let's
I've heard it.
take a
You
break
played
and
it-
listen to it. Let's take a break and listen to it.
Okay.
All right.
Did your world collapse when Ron Paul didn't win? Don't keep hoping for some great man to fix government through government. Complete your evolution today to full-on anarcho-capitalist. Reward your brain with the Freedom Fiends and quit breaking your heart with some politician. While the libertarians argue,
But who would build the roads?
the Freedom Fiends have already built the roads and moved on to making the great media content of the libertarian paradise. FreedomFiends.com. That's FreedomFiends.com.
Ugh, I'm so sick of looking at Steve's wedding pics, and I'm all out of passive-aggressive comments. What else am I supposed to do at work all day?
Sick of stalking your ex on Facebook?
Yeah.
Are you all out of cute cats and autocorrect mishaps to lol at?
Duh!
Freedom Fiends to the rescue! The Fiends now have a blog. Read all about the latest tyranny today. Dream about lip pair. Laugh while Western civilization collapses. Just click on the cat icon to the right of freedomfiends.com. Freedom Fiends blog. Read it!
You've read books, attended lectures, and you know the Constitution well enough to know it's a well-crafted blueprint to create an ever-increasing federal empire. But there's still one thing missing. Buttons! Freedom Fiends now has buttons. We have Freedom Fiends, Anarchy Gumbo, and 2 designs for guns and lead the road to freedom. Wear them with pride. Use them to start conversations with statists. It's only $6 for 4 buttons, including shipping. Go to freedomfiends.com and click on the link at the top that says Buttons. Nima Fiend, what's up?
What's up, Mr. Dean? How you doing? FreedomFiends.com.
Good. We're having an audio meeting here. So what's the problem of why you've been too loud and too quiet lately? And we do have the compressor turned up to 11 now on you, so it should help a bit. But
compressor is up fully. But here's our problem, right? Sometimes I'm talking like this. If I move literally 3 inches, then it sounds like this. So you say that's about a quarter of the volume, right?
yeah, and I don't move
what
like
it ends
that.
up sounding like.
I kind of sit at the mic.
Yeah.
You're
I
thinking
move
it's
like that
your mouth,
so
right?
I can see. I move like that because otherwise I'm blind. I mounted the mic from the ceiling using a mic clamp and a gooseneck. So the mic hangs down, but it doesn't hang. It's metal. It protrudes from the ceiling.
Is it pointing? Are you using the ribbon mic?
Yeah, ribbon
Yeah.
mic.
Well,
So where it used to be on a mic stand, it would be below me, like it would come up, like the lowest point of the mic would be below my chin. Now, the part that's the lowest part of the mic is inverted, so the lowest part of the mic is like above my forehead. So what happens is the mic's kind of in my face, near my eyes, instead of in my face, near my neck and chin. So in order to bypass that and read the computer screen, in case I'm, we're talking about something or I'm reading notes, I move, obviously, over to the right, and then you can't hear me anymore.
see, I'm thinking you need to go with either, a standard mic stand with a boom stand. Do you have one of those?
I have that, yeah, and I hated it. I really hated it
Okay.
because I'm in a closet, man.
Okay, well, look at
clunks
what
everything up, and it's annoying.
Look at what I just sent you on Pigeon. And we did get a complaint this week that we've been talking over each other way too much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I kind of feel like that just means we're more excited than we usually are. So I can't do anything about it. I do want to try to not swear, though, now that we're radio stars.
Okay.
But-
I was worried about I'm looking at what you sent me, which is, your gooseneck from the desk. But then I worry, you'll get the sound when you hit your hand on the.
I don't hit that
on the
desk.
Because it's a different desk. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm in a closet. I don't have room for 2 desks.
Okay.
I don't even have room for 1 desk. I've got a piece of plywood up against the wall.
Well,
that I
Frank
built.
Fidati just sent us a $10 donation, so we could spend it on solving this problem.
No, I think I've got it, right? One cast, I just stood up instead of sitting down. And at that point, even though the mic's coming from the ceiling, I'm still taller than where it hangs. So if I stand up and adjust the mic, then it'll be like
You mean
before.
stand up the whole cast?
Yeah, I did it.
You
I did it one
You shouldn't
cast.
have to do that. You shouldn't have
No,
to do that.
I think it's good.
You know what I think will work is you're getting your $17 mic in a couple days here. I'm getting more memory any moment now, and when we do, I'm going to take a break and install it, but on my mumble computer. But I think that when you get your $17 handheld, cardioid dynamic mic, you'll be able to just hold it and mic control.
I honestly, I hate having one hand unfree, so I'd much rather stand up the whole cast than hold something in the hand the whole cast. I can't type. I can't type if I'm holding the mic.
Like
man.
me, you masturbate during the whole Feems, right?
Shh. Yeah, but actually, I have a machine to do that. I've got a little fleshlight mounted to
A mic stand, a
I'm
gooseneck.
kidding. Right. I have an actual goose's neck. No, I would like to. Well, I grew up when I was talking, when I would be speaking, it was always on stage, like in high school. And so I learned, and in college too, I did some stage stuff. And I always learned that you get a much better vocal feel when you're standing up. You've got your diaphragm isn't compressed. You've got more range, more volume.
You can't say diaphragm on here. This is not an adult show. This is an all ages show.
If you'll allow me on the air here, I guess I'll try to mute the mic, and what I'll do is adjust it to where I can stand up and talk into it, and take 30 seconds or something, and then I'll come
I'll
back.
read our donation. I'll read our donations.
Okay.
It won't even take 30
we go.
seconds. So
I'm actually just going to press the pad button. So
Nima's brother Frank Vidati wanted some buttons, and he wanted to buy some. And I'm like, no, I'll just send you some. So I got Frank's address. I'm sending him 20 or 30 Feems buttons to give away and wear. And he made a donation. I didn't expect that. He's family. He doesn't have to do that. Our family support us by putting up with our crap. But anyway, so we got that. George Bow, I guess Baugh, gave $140, which is mind blowing, and we would like more of those. We would like a monthly one of those. Then we could probably quit our jobs. Not really, but I said, can we mention your name on the air? He said, go ahead. I ain't afraid of no drones.
I ain't afraid of no drones. All right.
He also said, keep rocking in the fiend world. And I was thinking we should use that as an episode title at some point.
We should. All right. I think
And
I'm in the position I'd like to be in.
Brett Backos or Bacos gave $25. When you make a donation, let us know if you want your name read in the air or not. We won't unless you say so. And that Lincoln movie, that horrible Lincoln
watch
humping
it?
movie. No, but here's a spoiler alert. Slavery ends and Lincoln dies.
Oh, no shit.
I saw that on some board. It's pretty funny.
That is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. Screw Lincoln, man. Screw that guy. Although
No.
he probably would have liked
He
that.
was gay.
Yeah.
He was gay and sociopathic, which doesn't go hand
Gay,
in hand.
homosexual.
Does not.
Yeah.
Go. So Frank Fidati, your brother, is involved with something called Peaceful Streets Houston. You know about this?
Yeah, it's actually an offshoot of something called Peaceful Streets Austin, which I think started when there was this guy, Will Grigg wrote it up. There was this guy who was, going along 6th Street. I think him and another friend or two were driving along in a car on 6th Street, and they saw cops on the side of 6th Street harassing a woman, like literally being physically violent with some poor woman. And so they got out to see what was going on, and they quickly realized that this woman was doing nothing wrong, and she was being a victim here. She was being victimized by the police. So they jumped out and took pictures. I'm not sure if they were video or stills or both, but and I forget the guy's name now. But this guy who was taking the pictures, the cops came and harassed him, grabbed his camera, detained him, threw him in like this drunk van they had for drunks on 6th Street, forced him to do a breathalyzer, and basically talked crap to him, saying, you shouldn't F with police. If you F with police, we'll F you, kind of thing. And he was, really traumatized by it, and so he started this thing called Peaceful Streets Austin, which is kind of like cop block related. It's kind of like they do activism where they'll have a film the cops night, and everybody will meet at City Hall, which is also the cop shop downtown on 7th Street, and then they'll all disperse, like 50 people with cameras. They'll like pass out video cameras, and they'll all go, hey, go film cops for all night, kind of thing. And so I guess Houston now has a chapter of that. So
Yeah.
good job, Frank. But
Good
maybe
job,
he can call in on Thursday or Sunday and
Yeah,
give us a little firsthand knowledge.
I want blog reports, man. I want news on
blog
this.
reports. Okay. Cool, man. Yeah. Cracker, man.
Yeah,
Don't
I
you
talk
wanna go
about my
down?
boy Michael Urbano a lot. He plays drums on this, and the guy that produced Slish, he played drums in Slish, and the guy that produced Slish, Davey Farragher, plays bass and sings backup.
Nice.
Sandra Bernhardt's in the video for this. He's boxing her.
But yeah,
He's getting
I
his
saw
ass
that.
kicked by her.
What are you playing that from? That audio from?
Why, does it sound good?
No, it's into your microphone. I'm just doing
Yeah,
mail to mail
I'm playing
right
I'm
into your
playing it on YouTube into my microphone, holding the mic near the speakers.
Are you using YouTube on the same computer you're?
No, a different one.
Then you can just run the output, man, and plug it right into your mixer.
Like some junkie cosmonaut, man.
Yeah, don't you want
You
to
like
go
that
down?
line? Yeah.
That's my favorite line. Yeah, don't you want to go down like some junky cosmonaut? He says that the second time. I think the first time he says like disgraced.
Cosmonaut. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song, man. It's heavy, it's cool, it's spooky, it's groovy. You can dance to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
jams.
that's that song made the singer David Lowery, who was in a band called Camper Van Beethoven, or before that, with David Emmergluck, who was also in Slish, who was a sort of an alternate college rock hit band, and their hit was called "Take the Skinheads Bowling." He's from Virginia. He's a kind of a good old boy. He is a cracker, but he they rose to superstardom with that song, and it didn't last that long.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of a one-hit wonder thing.
And his blog, I read his blog last night. It's a lot of it is like pretty intelligently written, but like demanding government enforcement of copyright laws. Like, I guess he feels that he would have been a star forever if people hadn't stolen his music on the.
Man,
it's weird, man.
that's
and he's
not
a
how
math
stardom works, buddy.
and he does the
That's
whole
not how it
math.
works.
Like, he's what he does. Part of what he does for a living is he's a super math geek, and he rents himself out as a like risk management to like investors, risk management analysis. So an analyst. So on his blog, he's got this whole like, I mean, it's like 15 scrolling pages breakdown of his mathematical proof that Google isn't doing enough to downvote pirate links. And he proves it with math. I know,
What a
man.
douche. He should go down like some
Disgraced
blowjob giving cosmonaut.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
screw
when it
that
says
guy.
when he says go down, I don't think he means blow somebody. I think he means like
Yeah, I know.
get
I
high
was
on
saying-
heroin.
I was saying he should blow somebody.
Okay. Yeah. You ever heard his song Eurotrash Girl? That's pretty funny.
No, but I did click on a song called "I Hate My Generation" that was suggested by YouTube. That was also by him, which has
Yeah,
a cool name, and it was kind of a cool song.
He probably hates his generation because they share his music because they love it so much. They
Is that
freely
it?
share his music. Yeah, I mean, he's really persnickety about that. I mean, and he has this another blog post is about like, the top 15 reasons people give supporting piracy and debunking of them. And he goes through them, and every single one of his debunkings is like all the top logical fallacies,
What a douche! What a douche! Yeah, I'm looking at the Peaceful Streets Project Houston. Go ahead and like them on Facebook. Be their friends. They need more
like
people.
them.
It looks like they're just starting out.
Are they kind of hippie? I want to ask Frank about that because they're like, their logo is like a peace sign drawn in chalk on the sidewalk with a gun and a badge next to it, which could be like, we want the cops to disarm and lay down their guns and badges, but it could also be like, it kind of seems like the cop's been killed. That's what I get from it. I can't tell if they're like, hippie
there's
or
a
violent
cop- there's
I can't
cop
tell if they're
logo.
I can't tell if they're like to the left of Cop Block or Cop Watch or like, more libertarian or less libertarian than Cop Block or Cop Watch or what.
I don't know. I think they're more
Frank
of a big
will tell
tent
us.
approach. I think it seems to me it's more of a big tent approach. Like if you're libertarian
yeah.
or you're lefty, whatever.
I think it's
come,
just
come
film,
and hate cops
film
with us.
just film the effing cops. I think that's
Yeah.
their agenda, which is
I
great.
think that's it.
Great.
Yeah. I agree. But yeah, I don't think they mean kill the cops, because there's a police badge, and it looks like a police logo too on the Glock and on the baton.
Yeah, but
Maybe that's just a
it could
Glock
be like,
logo on the
somebody
Glock.
killed the cop and that's what's left of him after they took the body away. I don't know.
Could be that too, because there's a big.
I didn't go there.
I didn't either. Regardless, though, I mean, all these grassroots organizations that are there to be a check on police, that's the right idea, right? Don't lobby for some kind of extra governmental association to watch the watchers. Like here in Austin, we have the
watchers.
police monitor.
Be the watchers.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Be your own check. Be the change you want to see in the world, right, man?
Yeah, man.
Peace. Everybody always says that now.
That sounds like
Be the
meditating
change.
until it goes away.
Yeah, screw that.
Which brings us around to the title of today's cast, which is Doing Nothing is Better Than Doing Evil, which came out of the elections. I said that when people say, if you don't vote, you can't complain. And I said, if you do vote, you can't complain. And I thought I came up with that, but apparently George Carlin came up with it about 50 years before.
No, I think it was one of his more recenter ones, maybe.
Yeah,
Recenter? One of his more recent ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, though.
He's dead. I cried when he died.
Yeah.
He was important. He was
he was awesome.
He actually tested the waters of free speech back in the day. He had this bit called
The 7 words.
You can't say on TV, on the radio. Yeah. And it was actually played. The record was played on KPFA, which is one of the stations Scott Horton is on. And they almost lost their FCC license, and it went to the court, and it changed things. I don't remember how, but it was important. I know that.
So even before 2 Live Crew, you have George Carlin.
Yeah,
and I'm sure before him, you maybe had somebody else.
And
too.
we quote Scott Horton all the time, and he did a shout out to you the other day. I still don't think he knows who we are. I've interviewed him. He said you by name, mispronounced your name, but said your name on the cast, and I still just, when I write that guy, I feel like
he must have listened to the first bit of the Feems episode you sent him then, because that was.
I thought it was somebody sent it
referenced
to.
it.
I thought someone told him that on his chat room or something. I thought that's what he said.
No, I think that was the first time he said my name. He was like, somebody in the chat room says Nima Vidadi always quotes me. That was like months ago.
Yeah.
No, this most recent one, he was like talking about his concept that people would love Obama no matter what. And he says, even Nima Vidadi, I'm not sure I'm saying that right, but Nima Vidadi says that you would love Obama as he was pulling the sword out of your guts after running you through. And he's like, yeah, that's a good way of saying it. He's paraphrasing me, but, that's great. So he must have listened to the episode.
Well, there's another thing I wanted to talk about. As Scott Horton says, everything in the world is Woodrow Wilson's fault.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I want to talk
put that
a little
on my Facebook too. After the election, everybody wanted to have their final throw, or their post-election Facebook post, and mine was, I wanted to say this would be a 4th Bush term, but I guess it's more like a 26th Woodrow Wilson term.
You said that?
Yeah, I
That's
posted
funny.
that on the Facebook.
Yeah, I've been kind of depressed on and off. I mean, I don't know if that's the word, and I don't even want to say that on the radio because they'll go, "Oh, he's depressed. Let's go take away his guns." I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
I've been kind of thinking a lot about the state of America and where it's headed. I mean, in the week, less than a week since Obama won the election, a week today. I mean, he's talking about gun control, UN treaties. He passed an executive order saying that and this was when the hurricane was coming, when no one was looking, passed an executive order saying, in times of emergency, all state and local police will be under the direction of FEMA. Word is leaking out about some of the FEMA camps. I mean, FEMA, centers that they set up where they had people staying in a public high school, comfortable, out of the wind, on cots, with food and water. FEMA came in, and that was local agencies, and Red Cross had done that. FEMA came in and said, "Oh, we're going to take you all to hotel rooms," loaded them onto buses, took them through the storm to a camp made up of tents where you couldn't sleep. It was windy. It was cold. There were not black helicopters flying over all night, really low, making noise. They turned off the Wi-Fi so people couldn't get pictures out. Cops came around and told people not to charge their cell phones. They didn't want pictures coming out. Some reporter came in and tried to give her business card. Cops wouldn't let her in. FEMA cops wouldn't let her in. She tried to give her business card to some lady that wanted to talk to her, and the FEMA cops wouldn't let her give the business card to the lady.
Wow.
God, I mean, so much other crap he's done, and also passed an executive order that like basically reinforces that idea that in times of emergency, everything owned by everyone belongs to the government.
Which he's had an executive order like that before, and before that, I think FDR or somebody like that did a similar executive order. So nothing new, but I think you're right. He's making it more known.
A lot of his new stuff codifies stuff that was already kind of assumed, like. I mean, the NDAA, basically. That was kind of in the Patriot Act, but not clearly. He had to say it. And the government, all your stuff belong to us, was kind of already in something from FDR.
And with the NDAA, not only did he re-say it again, but he also fights it in court. And a judge said, "Hey, this is unconstitutional," and he said, "No, it's not.
Yeah,
we're gonna fight for this." So it's not like he's like, "Oh, the NDAA, whatever. I just passed it." It's no, he's actively pursuing throwing you in jail for no reason all the time.
The TSA is unionizing.
I saw that. I thought they already were. Like that was news to me that they weren't already.
Yeah, it's some.
I mean, they act like one.
More, yeah. There you go.
That's pretty much as bad as it gets already. Although I guess it could get worse. I mean, who knows? Who knows what else we have in store?
Oh, the guy that he may put in charge replacing Hillary is the guy who just lost his re-election, Berman, who probably is going to be
Supreme.
Berman Supreme, who is the architect of SOPA. So the guy who designed SOPA, which didn't pass, which Obama is probably going to pass by executive order. He's talking about it, like having talks about like the internet is our most important resource. We need to control it. That's probably going to happen this month or this week or this afternoon.
Well, like we were talking about in the last cast, they consider cyber warfare now as the same thing as air warfare or naval warfare. So once something's the military's domain, that does not bode well for freedom.
I would like to step up everybody torrenting everything of ours, which brings me to, I want to know who in Westfield, New York, my tiny little hometown that probably got electricity last year, who there is torrenting all the stuff. I'm really happy about that.
Maybe it's your dad.
Yeah, I knew you'd say that. He doesn't live in that town anymore, but he can barely.
He'd be like Ben Stone. He'd be like, "What's a torrent?"
No, Ben Stone is way more internet literate than my dad.
I know. I'm just razzing him from some other cast.
For being old.
Kai was like, we should start doing torrents, which I think they should. I totally think Ben Stone and the Bad Quaker should have torrents too. But he was like, what's that about? Like, I guess he knows what it is. I think he was joking, but
yeah. But I'd love to know who in Westfield, New York is downloading all our torrents, and I'd like to thank them and ask them what living in Westfield is like now. I live in Casper, which kind of looks like Westfield, but
yeah. Every time you wonder about a town, you always Google Earth it and go, oh, that looks like Casper.
Yeah. No, I don't. I've never said that. Westfield Casper kind of looks like
Washington.
No. But
yes.
Yeah. Okay. What else we got? Speaking of songs from back in the day and things from back in the day, I think we were speaking about that a minute ago. Yeah. Let's get off this. There's a song that I'm going to put at the end of this cast. It's called Drone that I played on in 1983. What were you doing in 1983, Nima?
I was not yet born.
Okay. And actually, Peggy, who wrote and sang the song, I wrote it with her. She sang it. It's called Drone because it has a droning bass part. Kind of sounds like Joy Division or something. But
it's really cool.
Did you like it?
I liked it a lot. I loved that old analog sound, man. Like
I was recorded with tube amps. The piano is an acoustic piano. The guitar is electric, mic'd amp. Small little amp.
I also wanted to know about the drums. What did you do for the cymbals on the drums? They had this like nice reverby, but like not piercing quality to them.
The guy had two SM57s above the drum kit and one in front of the bass drum. That was it.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
We're going to talk more about really cool. SM57s when I get my improved SM57 Beta 57A next week. We have whole notes on the SM57 and how it's like it was invented by a guy who hated rock and roll, but it became like the predominant rock and roll vocal mic. And
It's also the mic of the state.
It's the official mic of the president. Every president since like 1965 has had it on his podium. And they've never replaced it with the one I'm getting, the updated, better one. And I think it's because mics have a sound and people are used to the president having the sound of an SM-57. So, it's the commanding in chief sound.
See, we should have used those when we were doing the fake presidential debate in the video.
We didn't have time, man. There was a storm coming.
I know. I was kidding.
We don't have any either. So,
yeah.
I have GAS, gear acquisition syndrome.
You do.
Let's go sell some stuff.
All right.
Love the Fiends and want to help out? We do take donations and we put them back into our Liberty projects. You can make a donation by clicking on the spinning coin on any post. But what if you want to help, but you ain't got no cash? Or you made a donation and you want to help more? Here's how you can help. Download and seed our torrents to help keep us drone-proof. There's a torrent club link at the top of freedomfiends.com. You can also blog The Fiends and share episode links on Facebook, Twitter, and elsewhere. You can rate and review our movies on Amazon and IMDb. You can rate and review the Freedom Fiends and Anarchy Gumbo and our songs on iTunes. That really helps a lot. You can buy our movies and share them with friends or give them out as gifts. And one of the best ways to spread liberty is to buy a bunch of Freedom Fiends buttons and give them out as gifts. Wholesale prices are available, and you can also comment on our site, or better yet, comment about us on other sites. And please email the site link to all your friends. Thanks for helping spread the Fiends message worldwide to as many Liberty people as you can, especially to those who don't yet get it. You rock.
So we'd normally be done by now, but you wanted to ride my dick, and do you still feel like riding it after hearing it?
I wanted to ride the dick that's coming out of the demon eye on the cover of the record.
Yeah, that was designed by Tony Fagg. And
okay.
It's the eye of the devil turning into a penis, going into a vagina that's at the end of the fuse, and the bomb is the world, and it's covered with roses. That's awesome. So Tony. And it was drawn by Richard Kars, who was shot by police in self-defense. Basically, he came at him with a knife covered with blood, and they shot him. I'd shoot him. Yeah. I would have shot him, but
wow. Yeah. But amazing song. I love the thematic progression too. When you talk about songwriting, I'm guessing that's sort of what you mean. Is,
Hang on,
the way
I'll be
this.
right back.
Yeah. But yeah, man. And if you look at the side of the YouTube, YouTube always does related videos. Maybe it's because of who posted it. Michael didn't post this YouTube video. It's somebody named Cowgirl Bootlegs. So, anyway, all the related videos are like Nirvana videos. Like the first one is "Drain You" by Nirvana, which is, I think, one of my favorite Nirvana songs. Like the first time I really got into Nirvana, it was one of the first records I ever bought. Was "Muddy Banks of the Wishkah" or "From the Muddy Banks of the Wishkah."
Yeah,
and that's like the third song on it. And I remember hearing that and being like blown away. So, yeah, man, I feel like this sound may have influenced them, or at least comes from the same kind of influences as some of the early Nirvana. Like it reminds me of like Incesticide or Bleach kind of Nirvana.
I think we started the same year as them.
Okay.
I think we had more influence on Jane's Addiction because they were fans and sounded like us, and I think we started a year before them, and they had heard us. So
Perry Farrell kind of annoys me, though.
Yeah, he does.
They've done some good work, but
Nirvana started.
Right? Perry
Nirvana
Farrell?
was 87. Yeah, Nirvana was 87 to 94. Bomb was 86 to 93. So it was the same number of years, shifted 1 year earlier.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna hear that. I had to run away because I was looking out. I saw something out my window in my little mirror on my computer monitor. Some like FEMA looking machine driving by my house. It was like, I mean, it looked like a forklift, but it didn't have a forklift on it. There was a city worker in I don't even know what he was. I don't know, man. Who knows?
Was it a street cleaner?
It wasn't. It was tiny. It was small. It was like the size of a forklift with one guy on it. It wasn't a giant,
A backhoe?
I don't know what, man, but and then I saw the mailman across the street. I'm like, the state is all over my street.
They're taking over.
I like my mailman. As mailman go, he's great. He's mellow. He doesn't steal, and he delivers things on time. His end of it.
I hated my mailman when I was in Casper.
A lot of them are drunks, man. A lot of mailmen are drunks because it's the job drunks can have, and they can't get fired for being drunk. They just get sent to rehab and come back and drink more. Bukowski was a mailman.
Bukowski?
And he liked it because he could drink and get his job done and not lose his job.
Who's Bukowski?
What?
Who is Bukowski?
I'll just let the free market of who the fuck is. I'm sorry, you're gonna get hate mail on that.
Really?
Yeah, not hate mail, just like really.
Charles
He was an
Bukowski,
American
German-born American poet.
poet, writer, screenwriter. Movie Barfly is based on him with Mickey Rourke.
Yeah. He died on literally my birthday when I was 10. So when I was exactly 12 years old, or 10 years old, he died. So I don't
Wow.
take shit for not knowing who Bukowski is.
My late mother's birthday was Ben Stone's late father's birthday. I found out this week.
Huh.
All right, we're over. Let's go. We'll listen to this song. I Loved You Then I Died by my band Bomb, the song that Kurt Cobain and everyone else in Nirvana loved. And then we'll hear the song Drone, which not many people have heard. It's my band The Day I Lost My Virginity, which is a sweet, kind of spooky, weird little song that I play piano.
Whose
and
alternate
guitar on.
name was Michael.
Yeah, the band was called Michael.
Wow.
Peggy changed it because
Because that's the
drummer and
most
I were Michael.
egotistical band name ever.
if I thought of it, but she thought of it. It actually had less to do with that me and the drummer and I were named Michael, and more to do with the character Michael Valentine Smith in the Heinlein book Stranger in a Strange Land. You'd have to ask Peggy, and yeah. Anyway,
She was a Heinlein fan, huh?
Yeah.
What does she do now? Is she still cool?
she's still cool. She's
Or
married
do you
to
call her and say you used to be cool.
no, man, she's hella cool. She's married, and she's married to Tad from the band Tad, the Sub Pop band, and I introduced them. Tad was actually that
So
band
it's
was
a thing for her to convince bands to name themselves after names of band
no.
members?
The band Tad was broken up after before they met.
okay.
But I introduced them, and with the point of setting them up as a couple. And they're married, and they're very happily married. And the band Tad actually influenced Nirvana. They were from Idaho and moved to Seattle, and they were together before Nirvana, and they were grunge before Nirvana existed. They are considered the first grunge band by people who know. So,
Okay.
so there.
People who know choose Tad.
People. All right, man. Worms.
Hello, Freedom Fiends. It's your boy Dean from the US. Get the US out my bloodstream. I-O-Me and that includes endorphins. No one won't ask permission and I won't say please. Freedom fans, one fact that I gotta make clear is
The Freedom Fiends podcast is covered by a Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike 3.0 license. Do what you want with it and spread it around. Tell 2 friends. Make copies. Email it to everyone you know. Go on the site and comment. This is a conversation. Every week, we'll have an exciting new episode where Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi weave their own unique take on the way the world works and how to find your place in it. Available from freedomfeens.com. That's freedomfeens.com.
Freedom Fiends is proudly syndicated by Alterati.com, the Liberty Radio Network, and No Agenda Global Radio.
Subscribe and tell 2 friends.
And remember, the only power they have is the power you allow them. We're not saying the Freedom Fiends are the one true path to anarchist liberation, but it's a good one. If you want to put your voluntarist money where your mouth is, consider making a donation to the Freedom Fiends. Go to freedomfiends.com and click on the spinning coin on any post. Then make a one-time gift via PayPal or set up a monthly contribution of as little as $3. Giving to the Freedom Fiends helps advance education of horizontal liberation throughout the world. The Freedom Fiends. We work hard, so send us some money.